resistance. And so the bookstore is based on that. So, oh, there I am. You can see me now. So, so on February 3rd, we're going to talk to Sarah about that one. We're going to have a historical romance panel on the 8th. Both of these, the 3rd and the 8th, you can get your tickets for Zoom at bakerbookhouse.com. Michelle Shockley will be in the 15th of March. She wrote a fabulous book that we're going to talk about. And then just a reminder, our all day is the 12th. Of course, we're going to have the whole week thing again. Hopefully by then our numbers will be even more down and we can continue meeting. So right now there's no plan to cancel it or change it. So just pay attention. But I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, the discounts will be all week again for online shopping and such. So you will notice you only have me today. Jessica decided that she needed to go and see her fiance and make some wedding plans and I don't know. Yeah, I know, priorities. I can't hassle her too much because we have to discuss the merch one. But anyways, so anyways, we're all human and I am so glad to hear that she is having a good time with him. She will be back tomorrow. So if you do have questions, please feel free to email her any questions you have, because I will review books that I know very little about for her. And that way, if you have questions, so, or in order, you can do that too. So we're going to do the kids list first, just because that's the pile I have first. So the first two are Bible minutes for boys and Bible minutes for girls. And I was going to keep her little piece of paper in front of me because she did give me some handy dandy notes. And I did not do that. Okay, these are great Bible references for those that are just starting out in Bible reference. When I page through them, she's right. To be honest with you, I wish I'd had that, and I might buy them for myself anyways, because there's some stuff in there that we don't always know or remember. And this is just basic stuff. I mean, this is Bethany, Bethsaida, Zacharias, Antioch. So you have the big ones, but you also have some of the smaller ones, but they don't, pile it on these kids so that they can, learn the simple stuff in the Bible first. And it is written in devotion form where you have something per day. It's called, there's a people, places, and a couple other categories, but anyways, I hard put with two hands. So you can read the Bible verse, then you read the explanation, and then they recommend more reading in that section of the Bible. So, so you can do it in devotion form, you don't have to. So, but that's why she recommended it to librarians, because she thought, you could read that easily. So The Ship of Stolen Words. This is a 9 to 12 fiction. And when I read the description of this book, it sounded fascinating to me. She said that there is very little Christian or no Christian content in this book, but the idea behind the book is very Christian. This young man uses the word sorry. I am sorry, even when he doesn't mean it. We all do it. You bump into somebody in the store, and if you're in West Michigan, you go, oop, sorry. Some other normal places go, I'm sorry. And you don't necessarily mean you're sorry. But this young man was using it like the boy who cried wolf. And so the goblins came and stole that phrase from him. So this is his adventure to get his phrase back. But it's also about using words that you mean to use or not use. So I thought that's kind of an interesting thing, and it'd be a great conversation to have with that 9 to 12-year-old about why do we say the things we say? What's the difference between a lie and a not lie, and what we even call sometimes a little white lie. So you could get some really generated good conversations out of this. So don't turn it down because there's no Bible content. I would suggest looking through it first. And this one, okay, I like Eva. The Inventions of God and Eva. And Eva thinks that her and God are a lot alike. They both like to inventing things and then sharing them with others. But most of all, they both love to fix broken things and make them brand new. And then there is a note that Jessica gave me, and she says, you got to look at the last page to see what redemption glue is. And so this is a book about redemption and fixing those broken things and forgiveness. But also, it's kind of funny. So I thought it was kind of cute. You are the hugs to my kisses. And this uses a bunch of those different sort of phrases. You're the jelly to my donut, you're the blue to my sky, you're the laces to my sneakers, and you're the twinkle to my eye. And so it's just that type of book where it's just a delightful little book that you can read little kids. You kind of get that little rhythmic cadence, so it makes it easy to read when mom is trying to get somebody to go to sleep and she needs to go do something and you want to read a book, but you do it really quickly. I have never done that, never in my life, but it is very sweet. So let's see, this is fine. Oh, it's my Zonder Kids, so there is content, Christian content in that. God, you made all your feelings. God made all your feelings. He's not all your feelings. God made me and he made you. God made our minds and our feelings too. So it just talks about how their feelings aren't right or wrong. They are what they are. Now, sometimes what we do because of our feelings is wrong. And so they talk about, I believe they talk about that, if I understood it right. But again, these pictures are just wonderful. So. And then the big wide welcome tales, the true story about Jesus, James, and a church that learned to love all sorts of people. So I'm not sure they mean the James in the Bible or not, because I did not look at this one. So, but it talks about exactly that, loving each other because of our differences, not in spite of our differences. Because everybody worships differently. We all have different backgrounds, and yep, it is James in the Bible because they're wearing togas, and I know nowhere that wears togas nowadays. Sorry. That just made me giggle. So anyways, so it does talk about that in the different cultures. So I just think that's kind of cool. So I know there's a lot more about these books. I just don't know what it is. So call the expert. So our next list will be the nonfiction books. When I first started looking for this list, I'm like, boy, I don't know. Is there anything new that, librarians will like? So, but I found some really good ones. So the first one is Fish Out of Water, A Search for the Meaning of Life. Yeah, it's Eric Metaxas, and it's his story. It is a memoir. He's the, from Eric Metaxas, The Answer for Fish Out of the Water, a poetic and sometimes hilarious memoir of his early years in which the Queens-born son of Greek and German immigrants struggled to make sense of a world in which he never seemed to quite fit in. So this is his story, and I think it's pretty interesting. So, we all know Metaxas for some of the really big books he writes. But this is why he does what he does and what he believes. There are some pictures if you want to see young Metaxas somewhere in there. I can't get the pages to open up right. But I did find it kind of interesting. I always do. This is his grandfather and his mother. So it's kind of fun. Now this book intrigued me. I almost didn't pick it up. And I saw it this way, okay. But I thought, oh, I need something different. And so I thought, oh, well, this is gonna be a book about a coffee shop, right? I was so wrong. When you see the cover, you know why. And then I read the inside flap and I went, this sounds like a really good book. I did not go look his videos up, okay. I didn't online last night. I just didn't have time. As a 6'2", dreadlocked black man, Tyler Merritt knows what it feels like to be stereotyped as threatening, which can have dangerous consequences. But he also knows that proximity to people who are different from ourselves could be a cure for racism. So he has made a couple of videos talking about different things. One of them is Before You Call the Cops, and the other one is Walking While Black. They're viewed by 60 million people, and the main point of his first viral video: the more you know somebody, the more empathy, understanding, and compassion you have. Amen. I can't walk his walk. He can't walk mine. But I can't ever experience what he does. But he can tell me about them. And I can learn. And I can understand. And then we can become friends. And I love that. I was just talking to a young man. I was watching a comedian on, I think it was Saturday night. My husband had him on I wasn't really paying attention, and all of a sudden something what he said caught my ear. Now I can't repeat it here because it's not a comedian, Christian comedian. To make up for it, no, I can't say that. But anyways, and what he was talking about is an experience I will never, ever have, mostly because I'm not a guy, but partly because of the color of my skin. But now, even though he couched it in funny, I understood what he went through. And it was amazing. He never once shouted at me. He never told me I was a terrible person. He just explained his story. And that's what this does. And what else can we learn when we're not shouting at each other? You know? So I would love to say I plan on reading this book. Maybe that's a good word for it. I plan on reading this book. I hate to say it, Taylor, but I might not get to. But I love that he's doing this. I really do. Because I mean, there's stories. The book I picked, one of the 2 books I picked up for my book of the year last year was because of the story content that taught me about somebody else's experience because of who they were, because of race. Something I would never get to know. So sharing our stories, that to me is the most important thing we can do. Born Broken. I can't remember if I picked this up and put it on our list before. It wasn't recently. I did go through them, but this is about a young couple who were so excited to adopt their first baby. And when they did, they took him home and suddenly he started having health issues and they couldn't figure it out. He was not developing correctly. Well, he had fetal alcohol syndrome, something that is not a cure for it. He will always be handicapped. But this is their walk through that and what they learned and how they were blessed by it and how now they are blessing other people. So again, your story, helping other people. So it'll tug at your heart because it did. I jumped ahead a little bit because you always have introductions, but I jumped ahead a little bit, and it's not a light read. It was difficult journey, and it still is, but really well done. Okay, I recognize these people because of the funny videos they did during the beginning of COVID lockdown. And they are hilarious. My sister still watches a lot of them, follows their blog, and I think they do a podcast. I don't do any of those, but they're hilarious. And I grabbed this book because of the subtitle, not the title, even though that's funny too. Everybody fights, so why not be better at it? I'm like, oh, I should read that. I could win a few fights. Now, obviously, that is not what they mean. They mean to be better at the fighting, so you're not damaging your relationships the whole time. But it is done with a lot of humor. And it's interesting because at certain times, each one is writing differently. Penn, and then Kim has her spots in here too. And I have to admit, and there's Kim. So I'm going to show you their equal opportunity. But there's a lot of highlights and different things in here too. So you could probably do this in a group, but I would recommend doing it as a couple because it's just a fun book to do. And you get to learn things not only about your relationship, but each other too, that you might not know, no matter how long you've been married. So really cute, really well done. And then Fault Lines, which I thought, oh, history of the United States since 1974. I remember those years. I was very proud of that. But this is actually a discussion on, because a lot of people are like, well, this is what caused the split in our political parties. Well, this is what caused this. And these writers, no, right or wrong, or whether you agree with them, I don't care. They put it down to 1974, because at that time, we had the Watergate crisis, the first president to ever resign. We had the winding down of the Vietnam War. We had the rising doubts of the American might. We had OPEC oil embargo and the desegregation busing riots in South Boston that showed a horrified nation that institutional racism was still happening. So, and that's why they point that out. I don't know if I agree with them or not. I mean, human nature, right after Adam and Eve partook of an apple, so to speak, we've been divided. So, but I find these kind of stories interesting because they explain certain things that, again, I don't always understand. And it's fascinating that 1974 is history, I should not be part of history. I am not old enough. But it does, because you can remember those things. I don't remember the busing riots. I was not old enough, but I remember Vietnam War winding down, and I remember sitting in front of the TV, and my parents, not because they supported or didn't support him, but watching, appalled that a president had done what he had done, and then was resigning, because it shook the bedrock of what they believed of our political parties. So, I remember these things. So it just makes for our times an interesting perspective on it. So if nothing else, it might be an interesting read for historical stuff. So, and then I do have some fiction titles. We all know that January can be a little bit light. I included some last month that I could have waited and included this month. I wasn't too worried about it, but we have some really good titles in here. So the first one is Saving Mrs. Roosevelt. And I love this cover, don't get me wrong. I want this woman's jacket. So I don't know if you can be envious of a person on a book cover, but I do want her jacket. So true confession time. So this is actually about women that truly did train to be spies in World War II. Now this young lady, to her chagrin, through the Coast Guard, was sent to help take care of Mrs. Roosevelt because there was an actual threat on her life. So this is, and I don't know how true that is because I did not do enough research into it. If there was actually a threat on Mrs. President Roosevelt's wife's life, I don't know. I didn't look into it, but I have to admit, this Heroines of World War II, and I think we have a Doors of the Past one in a while, that Barbara, these series that they're doing, they're really good. I have really enjoyed the ones I've had a chance to read. I have, again, I said it in a blog post I did a couple weeks ago, was I can't read them all. I really can't. I have tried really hard, but nobody has paid me 24 hours to sit at home and do nothing but read. So I read what I can. But anyways, this is actually still on my list, partly because I don't know Candace Patterson as an author. So I'm interested in learning her writing style. But it's intriguing to me that there might have been a threat on Eleanor Roosevelt's life and what happened. This one is a quick one, just because I've had enough of you librarians ask me. The paper from hardcover of the Beirut Protocol is now available. So there you go. Big review on that one. Melody Dobson, The Winter Rose. Here's another one of those covers. I swear sometime somebody is going to start a contest of beautiful covers for the year because they're just getting better and better. These companies are knocking it out of the park when it comes to them. This one is about Grace, and I'm going to try, I think it's Tonquin is her last name. She's an American Quaker, and she is working in France to rescue Jewish people and children. And then we flash forward a little bit, and that story continues. So I don't want to give a lot of detail. You can read the back, or you can read it online. Go to bakerbookhouse.com and read online. And it tells you about it. But I don't want to talk about it too much because there's a lot of intrigue that goes on in there. So obviously World War II, Melody is known for writing those. I was trying to think if in recent memory she has written anything but World War II, and I don't think so. So not that I mind, they're good books. So, but again, beautiful cover, good book. This, to be honest with you, Melody, if you have guy readers that are liking World War II books, you might want to check hers out. Yes, we have a question. So.
I'd like that book.
Okay, we don't have a question. She just wants the book. I'm gonna do this number. So, sorry. That's one of the practices. They get to claim a book before they leave here. So you should come and do that. Yes, this is The Doors of the Past, High Wire Heartbreak. You know, I have found it interesting in the last couple of years that there's been more and more books written about circuses from whatever perspective. I mean, there's, you know, like Jamie Jo wrote one, Jamie Jo Wright, and hers was The Haunting of, you know, Buena Vista Circus, which actually, considering how many people are terrified of clowns, it's not a wonder people find a good mystery about a circus fun. But there's been other ones too. Then you get The Lion Tamer and I am now completely incorrect. Send me it through Facebook, however you want, because I can't think of her name. Somebody in The Lion Tamer. But anyways, you know, so they're really fun to watch and read. This one is actually set around the Ringling Brothers. It's set in Sarasota, and this author goes there to write a book. And what she finds is something a little bit different. So she finds out one of her great grandmothers was actually one of the trustees. And so she finds her story. So this is a split time. So there's contemporary and historical. I really enjoy these. I can't say I'm one of these people and I'm a huge fan of circuses. I've been to a few. I've always enjoyed them. I don't have any problem with the lion tamer or the elephants or any of that if the animals are well treated, you know, so I don't have that issue with them. I don't go very often, but books like this make them fun and make them interesting. And it makes the people that are in the circuses humans, you know, not that freak show person. And then Eleanor, this is a new series they're starting. It is The Daughters of the Lost Colony of Roanoke. So I can't remember if this came in last week or the week before. It might have been the week before, but anyways, whatever week it came in, I thought, oh, I haven't heard of this one before. I mean, I've read some of Sharon McNear's books, but The Lost Colony of Roanoke, I think, intrigues a lot of people because of the mystery behind it. So Shannon took the thought that what if somebody did survive? What would be the impact on that person and then their history, their ancestors and relatives? And so that's what she did. So Eleanor survives. And so I didn't get very far, but I made a good shot at it while sitting here at work. I'm hoping boss doesn't listen to this, but I probably read, probably a good chapter 4 or 5 or 8, somewhere in there. I mean, I got a good chunk in and it was interesting. So I really, really enjoyed it. I love the mystery behind it. It's not what I would call a straight up mystery because, you know, we all know the colony is missing. I don't know why yet, and I don't know how she survives. I didn't get that far, but I do plan on reading it. So I have a copy at home all ready to go when I have a chance to read it. So I'll let you know, I got started in that thing and was running here at work. Seriously, people were interrupting me. Pesky customers kept interrupting. But anyway, and that's part of why I stopped reading. I'm like, you know, I really have things to do. So anyways, but it was a good book. So, and then Colleen Coble's got a new one. It is a standalone. It is set on Jekyll Island in Georgia. And if you have never been to Jekyll Island, put it on your must go places. It's beautiful. Oh, and then you get to visit Savannah and it's just all a thing. But I don't know what to say about Colleen's books that I haven't said before. She's a good writer. She writes a good mystery. She's got great characters. She has perfect settings, makes you want to go visit there, even though there's a murder mystery going on. It's all, I mean, it's just a fun read for that reason alone. So there you go. I mean, it's Colleen Coble. You know, who's not reading Colleen Coble? Heavens, we need to have a talk if you're not. And then book number 2 of The Treasures of Nome, Ever Constant. This is the series that Tracy Peterson and Kimberly, book number 3. You're right, book number 3. I should have cue cards. That's what I should have. Tracy Peterson and Kimberly Woodhouse. That's who's doing this series. This is one of those, the covers, you know, you want to face these out on your shelves because they're fantastic. So these are a series because they're set in the same area, not because they follow the same characters. So you can read them in any order. They're all good. Kimberly and Tracy do write on their own also, so look for their books for that reason. This one is about Whitney Powell, and she is happy working with her sled dogs and welcoming new additions to her family through her sister's marriage. So let me get you a date. They usually give me a date. 1889 is when the prologue was. And 1905 in Nome, Alaska. So that's when the story begins. So gives you the idea. Jen Torino's new one. And I think this is number 3 of the Bleecker Street Inquiry Agency. I'm checking with my cue cards. Okay, Jen Torino, I love her books because they are historical, romantic comedies. They are. There should be a better way to say that, but she is hilarious. As a person, she is also very, very funny, very knowledgeable about writing, and you know, the details of writing, but her wit and her humor is fantastic, and that comes through in her writing. Her characters are, and I hate to use the word again, but very witty. A good comeback. The conversations between characters is fun to read, and just interesting. So if you have not been reading about the Bleecker Street Inquiry Agency, which is hard to say 3 times fast, and she is anxious to hire them. A man arrives there to hire them to find a missing heiress. So of course there's always a missing heiress. So off we go to solve that mystery. And then lastly, but not leastly, Much Ado About a Latte. This is number 2 in the Maple Falls romance books. Hooked on You is book number 1, which is actually set around a bookstore. This is set around a coffee shop. And I believe there's a bit of a coffee shop bookstore, because I've not had a chance to read this one yet. But Kathleen is a good writer. I enjoy her books. She is also known for her Amish books and her Mennonite books that are very, very popular. This is a contemporary romance series that has been just a lot of fun to read. So I'm looking forward to this one. So, but that is, like I said, the list is very small this month. Hopefully that means next month will be even bigger yet. But I'm looking forward to it. So if you have any questions or any comments at all, please send me an email. You're welcome to call or even stop in. I'd love to see you. So if you have an order, send it on in and we'll take care of it for you. Or you can go on bakerbookhouse.com and place your order there. Thanks for joining us today.